inside, hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright.
From the foundation heights, quest the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse is where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bring shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
Silence of space, we drift and we roam, finding our place in the vastness we call home. With courage and wonder, we reach for the light, guided by visions that illuminate the night. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth undiscovered seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder, we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In the starlit wonder we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Through endless horizons, our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Stars are our compass, and time is our friend. Together we'll journey where stories transcend. Through endless horizons, our spirits ignite, chasing the dreams that fill the night. Chasing the dreams that fill the night. Symphony nights, we find our name. A symphony of wonder, seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy. Voices of the cosmos whisper. bound by the stars. Our story unfolds in the universe. Our destinies are told.
The journey, come on, let's go. Oh yeah, where the stars and secrets flow. Some Nation X radios glow. In the night, we'll ride the show into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Follow close, ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. So mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Let every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown, where mysteries are shown, shown. Dance to the beat we own, oh, yeah. Come with us and let it go, go. In the still of the night, when shadows creep, whispers of secrets in silent sleep, Coley's voice cuts through the dark, guiding us where the mystery spark. A journey awaits, far from our home, through realms unseen where wild thoughts roam, with experts aligned, their truths to share, unfolding the fabric of cosmic despair. Take the leap, step into the night. With SNX radio, we will ignite a symphony of strange where the bass drops low, journeying deep where the unknown flows. UFOs glisten in the starlit sky. ET whispers, look up, don't be shy. Paranormal tales woven into fate, as Coley invites us to contemplate. Feel that chill when shadows align. Experiences unfold, one of a kind. Off-world encounters, truths they must find. Open your heart, release your mind. Take the leap, step into the light. With SNX radio, we will ignite beyond the veil of sight. What secrets kept from our human plight? Coley's conversations stir the thread, an awakening call for the living and the dead. Take the leap, step into the night. With SNX radio we will ignite a symphony of strange where the bass drops low. Journey deep where the unknown flows. The echoes fade and the night draws near. The truths you seek become crystal clear. With SNX radio, keep your mind open wide, for in this journey we all confide.
The spark ignites in the dark night glow. Flashbacks from the track, watch the past unfold. Got a story to tell of courage untold. Rise up from memories, watch us take control. Echoes of yesterday feed our fight. From shadows to light, we'll take flight. In this race, embrace our might. Hold our dreams, got the future in sight. Rise up high, let courage unbind. Erase the past, keep future in mind. Every step forward, no looking behind. We own this moment, leave fear confined.
Hello and welcome to another episode of SNX Radio. I'm Coley and we have Rodney, of course, here tonight. How are you doing, Rodney?
Everybody good.
Yeah, if anybody wonders what's going on with my mic, I snapped it before I got here, so I apologize. But yeah, Rodney and I are here tonight, so we got a really great guest that I absolutely have had the honor and privilege of following and getting to know, really. Like, I mean, we were in a lot of groups together, and I followed his work. He's got some amazing stuff. So I'm just going to put this down here for a second. Rodney, before we get started, how are you doing tonight? I think we should
I'm
go through
doing
chat
great.
and see who's all here, right?
Yeah, first we had National UFO Day, followed up with 4th of July weekend. Hope everybody's got all their fingers and you're behaving, you know?
Hey, to that, definitely. Yeah. So you're right that it is international. So hopefully everybody was celebrating that along with our independence, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to run through chat really quick. I'm really bad with this. Please excuse me if I slaughter your name. Apparently, let me just grab this really quick. I had to switch audio cords. So don't blame the team for this, blame myself. But I would like to say hello, first of all, to Gary Spikes. Thank you for stopping in. And look at who we got here. We got Cassidy Lundgren. Do you know her, Rodney? Because she's been a really big help, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. And our special guest tonight, Tom Whitmore, of course, but we'll get into him in just a second. Chris Saladay. Hey, how are you doing? He's local. Scott Rosin. Love him. How are you doing, buddy? Kurt. Oh, W75. Always good to see you here. And let's see here. Oh boy, we got Paranormal NL. Oh, hey Jen, how are you doing? Hey, you guys, if you haven't followed, I'm gonna pull her up right now. Follow Jen. She is absolutely amazing. I've been on her podcast a few times, so she's absolutely amazing at what she does. And let me see if I missed you. I totally apologize. Fred, hey Fred. Oh, Fred remembers Tom really well too. Fred's a MUFON investigator out of Nebraska, and he used to be a part of the same group that I was with Tom. So we had the honor and privilege. So tonight, without further ado, I'd like to announce that we are on a lot of extra platforms. So you're going to see us. We've hit the UK, we've hit Canada, we are on Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon. I mean, in addition to Speaker, Spotify, and so many others. So if you see us, definitely follow us. We are going live right now on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Kick. So definitely X. We're throwing out Twitter, X, Twix, whatever you want to call it. But we got Tulsa Tom with us tonight, and as you know, he's hosted a lot of the Twitter Spaces.
Hey,
So
Tom.
I think even though Twitter's really, I mean, we got a huge, huge following on Twitter. But if you guys want to leave comments for Tom, just go ahead and click on that where you see it popped up live, and you'll be able to go into that and actually comment. And we'll be able to see you here. So that would be absolutely amazing. So without further ado, let me tell you about Tulsa Tom. He's amazing. Like he really is. He and I have like gone through and talked about so much, but um more than amazing. He really is. He MJ12, so the Majestic 12 is definitely his forte. And with that, he the dedication that he had, I saw him move to Washington D.C. I saw him go, and he was like right there in the mix, so he could get all of that stuff. So I included his Tom Whitmore blog.wordpress.com. So if you want any information on that, please do look that up. I included that into the links. Again, that is Tom Whitmore. And that you'll be able to see that, like I said, right in the link. So I think I got some interference here, but I will definitely get that fixed here in a second.
That might happen when you're streaming everywhere from here to Andromeda.
Well, you know what? We'll definitely get that. I'm so sorry. I'll just hold it. I can hold it. I mean, really, for real. So anyway, tonight we have Tom Whitmore with us. And like I said, he's got the dedication of nobody that I've ever met before in my entire life. So he's going and he is moving to Washington D.C. He's leaving and like he's going right to where it all is to get the information. I've seen him go on, and I mean he's absolutely amazing. He really is. So without further ado, let me give you a little bit of background on Tom here. He's affiliated with MUFON and it after I completely destroyed my speaker. So, Scott, if you're out there, I know you're like, hey, she is the technical difficulty. Well, tonight I I could definitely take that as my title. So, without further ado, let me tell you about Tom Whitmore. You can look him up on Twitter. He is Tom Tulsa. For those of you that don't know, and again, he does host Twitter Spaces. If you haven't been a part of that, I definitely encourage you to do that. Look him up. And again, yeah, he's absolutely just absolutely amazing. So I'm going to pull Tom up here, and we're going to talk about his expertise and just how wonderful he is. Because I'd like you to hear it from him. I mean, he's been a part of MUFON, the whole board of directors. I mean, he's really involved and has been absolutely wonderful. So in the disclosure movement, and we'd like to really thank him for that. And so let's just pull Tom on. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
Hello, Coley.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for
So
having me.
oh my gosh, Tom, it's so nice to reconnect with you. And while, I'm just gonna let Rodney here take over for about a couple minutes. We got a great crew going on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube. So hopefully we get those comments rolling in. But I'm gonna let you, since you're so analytical and you are so wonderful at your words, tell the audience who Tom Whitmore is and what you do and what drives you.
Oh, okay. Well, there have been a couple of changes since you and I first got to know each other, Coley. I had moved to Washington, D.C. in 2019 when I was able to retire from regular employment, and I lived there for 19 months. I had certain problems with the apartment house that I was living in, and then COVID came along and the government shut down. I couldn't do any of the research that I wanted to do directly at the National Archives or at the Library of Congress, and I started getting homesick for San Antonio, where I've lived since 1984. And so I moved back here to San Antonio, and I got a good little deal on a house. So here I am in little old San Antonio, Texas. Another thing is I became active in the UFO field around 1990, and I joined MUFON. I got my field investigator's card, and I got to know Walt Andrus. He lived close by in Seguin, Texas, and I got to know him at the local meetings. And eventually, he asked me to serve on the board, which I did. That was in the mid '90s, and I was on the MUFON board until a couple of years ago. I'm not on the MUFON board anymore, but I have friends there, and besides, I need to devote my time to my book writing project. I research and write. I'm working on a book about the history of the MJ12 controversy, and then some other papers that I'm going to write about perspectives on MJ12. I'm particularly interested in espionage and counterespionage and intelligence and counterintelligence, psychological warfare, deception, and so on and so on. So I do outside reading on that. I get up every morning and I read my little books. I've got several books that I read, and I keep my fans, which aren't very many, but my fans on my blog site updated most every week of what I've been reading and what I'm completing and what I'm still working on. So that's where I'm at right now. I try to be as disciplined as I can. I work 4 hours a day, 6 days a week on my projects. I live by myself. Unfortunately, my wife died back in 2017. My daughter's moved away. She lives in another city. So I'm here by my little old self. So I have to take care of everything and run all my own errands and do all that. So, but I can get in 4 or 5 hours of solid work. I time myself. I don't just say, okay, I'm working from 8 a.m. to 12, and that's my 4 hours of work. No, I actually do 4 actual hours of work, and I time it. So that helps me keep on track. And I research and write. The thing about doing research is one thing leads to another. And, you start thinking, well, I'm ready to write this chapter. I'm ready to write this section. And then you run across something that you just want to do further research on. There are some things that are very important in research as I see it in research and writing. One of them is dates, a timeline, because it's very important to have a timeline in the information that you're discussing. Because if you don't have an accurate timeline, you can't put things in the proper order or sequence of what happened. So that's one thing that I do spend a lot of time on. I have a very, very detailed timeline of the history of the MJ12 affair that goes mostly from 1979, really up to up through the early 90s. I'm going to update it later, and I work out of that timeline in building the first couple of chapters, and I'm working on the third chapter of my book right now, and I'm getting ready to write. I've written most of the text. It will, of course, it will need a rewrite, but I'm getting ready to write, finish the narrative and form the chapter. Now, a real chore in all of this is assembling the footnote or the endnotes and linking with the text. So, okay, now I get some feedback there. I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I heard that. Let me see if I can take care of that in the back end. But please keep going, Tom. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're writing a book because I think nobody would be better at this than you. I mean, the amount of details and how analytical you are. This is perfect. So go ahead. Yeah, just keep going. I'll go ahead and take care of that.
Yeah, and doing the end notes is a real it's a real tedious business, and I think there have been too many UFO books written that don't have proper documentation or referencing or end notes and all that. Now, some of them do. Richard Dolan's a good example. He has extensive end notes in his work, and some of the more conservative UFO researchers like Michael Swords and Barry Greenwood and them, they're very good at supporting their work. So I want to do that. I think that the UFO field needs whatever credibility we can provide, and so I'm going that extra mile to be to fact check my work to the extent that I can, and and support it with proper referencing and documentation. Now, that doesn't mean I won't make any errors. Authors do make errors, and one of the things that you have to do when you write an introduction or the acknowledgments is that you have to take responsibility for your work and admit that you're responsible for any errors in the book. Now, the good thing is I don't have a book contract, not yet, and I don't want one right now because I don't want to have to work under a deadline. And it's open-ended, and it's probably taking longer than it should, but at least this way, I'm not under pressure, to complete the work against a deadline and possibly, cut corners and skip things and not check things properly.
That's so true. And I thank you so much for bringing that credibility because we definitely need that in this community. That we really do. Because we have a lot of things that aren't so well explained, maybe by terms or by evidence here. So any evidence that you can bring in here and bring that solid. I've seen you go, though, Tom. I'm not sure if I should mention the individual, but I've seen you strategically go and get this information before, and you're brilliant at how you do it. And you've got such tact and such a wonderful way of doing it, but you're good. You are good at what you do. Definitely.
Thank you. I like you too.
I know. Oh gosh, Tom and I go way back. So we're back in the very beginning. Tom got to see all this stuff in the motion. So yeah, no, but I've seen, and he's gone to get those details. He's gone to definite extremes, which I have also. So I if you can appreciate that in this community, like there's nothing more that I can say. That we do need people that are credible. We do need this evidence, and we do need people like Tom. So if you aren't, Tom said he has little. I can't even believe that, Tom. We need to get everybody over to Tom's blog because he's definitely. If I mean, you could save yourself so much time and energy if you just go through and read his work. It's brilliant. He's an absolutely he articulates well. He's a brilliant writer, and he's just a great person altogether. So thank you, Tom. I appreciate all the hours that you put in to do this because I've seen and I watched you go out to DC. I remember when the old COVID hit and you came back, but man, I mean, you went right out to where it all was in the libraries. I remember.
Oh, I loved it. I had a blast. I
Yes.
just, getting on the metro, and riding downtown and changing the metro, going over there and going over to the Library of Congress. It was just a blast. I loved it.
That was awesome.
And your check is in the mail, Coley.
I love it. So why don't you tell us that for those of us who don't know, well, I know, sorry, Rodney knows, but for those of our listeners that don't know who the Majestic 12 is, have you identified all 12 of them yet?
Okay, the Majestic 12 is an alleged, purported group of people that were in a committee basically to study the Roswell case, the alleged purported recovery of the Roswell craft and its occupants, of which, if true, one of them may have survived until 1952. And if you think about it, if the government people had recovered a UFO and there were these little alien beings wouldn't you think they'd probably freak out? I would think so. And the idea is that they formed a super secret committee that was referred to as the Majestic 12 to study the event and to also manage at the covert level, at the most secret level, the UFO problem. Now, the reason why we know about the MJ12 term is because during the 1980s, there was a program going on that was being run out of the Defense Department to probably, most likely, disinform certain UFO researchers, very possibly to try to stir up trouble with the UFO community and get it all confused. And that's how we learned about this term, the MJ12, the Majestic 12. And a set of documents started appearing. The first one was what's called the Aquarius Telex, and that was given to Bill Moore, who was a researcher working with AFOSI as an informant, and it mentioned MJ12 in that paper. The next one was what I now call the Carter briefing document, and that was shown to Linda Howe on Kirtland Air Force Base under the auspices of Richard Doty and presumably AFOSI. And there are a number of mentions of MJ12 in that document and other information about the purported government program with aliens and UFOs. And then in December of 1984 or 1985, Jamie Chandray, who is a research partner with William Moore, received a packet at his home. It was an envelope. It was actually 3 envelopes, one inside the other. And in the third envelope, the smallest one, was a roll of 35 millimeter film. And on that film, after being developed, was what I call the original set of MJ12 documents. And those comprised of one, what we now call the Eisenhower briefing document, which was an alleged briefing of President-elect Eisenhower before he took office, briefing him about the Roswell recovery. And then the second paper was what we called the Truman-Forrestal memo, in which Truman supposedly authorized Secretary of Defense at the time, James Forrestal, to form and go ahead with the MJ12 committee. That summer, I think in 1986, 85, I need to remember that, but William Moore and Jamie Chandray turned up a third document in the National Archives, in a box in the National Archives, which we now call the Cutler-Twining Memorandum. And that paper is it's a carbon copy of an unsigned memorandum, which was an instruction to General Twining, a very high-level person in the Air Force at the time. It was an instruction saying that the MJ12 Special Studies Project meeting would be held during the regular meeting with President Eisenhower rather than afterwards. So I've got to say, all of the documents have always been questioned. I think we can pretty safely assume that not any of them are genuine, authentic documents created within the government, except that there may be some interesting information in there. There may be some correct information in there, but we all have heard the word disinformation, and that word is thrown around quite a bit, but it likely was an exercise in disinformation, that being that most of the information was false, but there was some truth in it. So that's how the MJ12 affair got started. Now, that wasn't the end of it, because in the 1990s, a very document showed up that was received in a very similar way on a roll of film that we now call the Psalm 1-01 manual, which is a purported manual of UFO recovery and how to box up aliens and all of that. And then also in the 90s, there was a UFO researcher by the name of Timothy Cooper who received a whole lot of documents from, I think, retired and or deceased people from the CIA. And a lot of that material is extremely interesting to read. Now, I'm not going to claim that it's genuine. I don't know. But there's a lot of interesting information in there. We get into things like the Serpo controversy that arose later, and the book Exempt from Disclosure by Robert Collins. And even as late as 2017, a document came out that I refer to as the ultra top secret document. And even up to the present time, there's a fellow in jail that claims he was recruited by AFOSI to be groomed to later go into AFOSI, and he was shown all these, extremely interesting documents mentioning MJ12 and the government's covert program with aliens and all this. So this has been going on. Let's see, this is 2025. This has been going on for 45 years.
That's crazy. That's a long time. 45 years is a long time. And like you said, there's always nuggets of truth. I remember going back and was like, even though I don't know if we can mention names, but there still is a agent I know that we kind of we're looking for information from. What do you think their take is on it? Do you think I always know there's always an element of truth to all of this. Like, you have to look into all this. You have to be careful on what you know or what you see, because not all of it is what you think it is. But they definitely put a nugget of truth into all of it. So with all that disinformation, there's always a piece of information. Definitely.
Yeah, and it all depends on whether the government's ever recovered a saucer, or more than one. If they've recovered a UFO or several UFOs or a number of UFOs, then they've done a very good job of, one, keeping the hot stuff, I think you could say, information secret, and then keeping everybody else confused and backbiting each other and engaging in conflict about it. So if they have not ever recovered a saucer, then I think it's pretty safe to say that some kind of deception program had been planned and implemented to cover other quote unquote conventional technology development, and while at the same time keeping the UFO groups against each other and keeping them confused, and then at the larger public level maintaining this kind of dismissal of the whole UFO problem.
I almost think that this majority 12 is even bigger than just the United States, because supposedly more than the United States have recovered crafts. Italy's recovered crafts, possibly Iran, who knows, maybe even India, Russia, So they all got their own individual majestic 12. Is it even majestic, magic, or is it majority?
Well, it depends on which way they make it. So, no, I mean, there's this term called the Five Eyes, and those are the English-speaking countries that cooperate in intelligence gathering and analysis. The U.S., Canada, Great Britain, New Zealand, Australia. I don't know if that's 4 or 5. I probably missed one. And we all cooperate together. So if there's an MJ12, there may not even be some set committee. It may just be very high level people in different positions, within the matrix of the military industrial complex that handle this. And maybe the whole notion of MJ12 is to get people to think that there's one single committee that handles everything, when in actuality that isn't the case at all. And in the government, committees are constantly being formed and changed, and people go in and out and they move around, and some people are included in the committee. They serve on a while and they serve for a while and they go away. Other people come in. So it's just hard to tell what the real situation is.
That's amazing. So, do you think that there's anybody still alive today that has some of this information, or do you think the MJ12? I guess that says a lot from when I was talking to you the last time. Do you think the MJ12 they're all deceased by now, or do you think there's any still living, or?
Well, the people that were on the original MJ12 list in the Eisenhower briefing document, they were all deceased at the time that document appeared. And interestingly, the last person to die before the document was sent had only died like 2 months before.
Oh, wow.
So whoever perpetrated the Eisenhower briefing document, which has the list of the 12 members of MJ12, they did that. They didn't send that until all the people on that list were deceased. Okay.
Yeah, I figured that. So, did they replace some of them, or did they just go with the MJ12 and that was it, and they flipped it over to a new government project, or do you think that they started to? What's your take on that?
Well, they haven't asked me to work as a consultant to the committee, so I'm not, privy to that information.
Of course not, right?
Like I said, well, even on the Eisenhower briefing document, it states that Secretary Forrestal had died. He unfortunately fell from a window in the hospital to the ground, and he died from.
Oh, yeah, I bet, yeah. Oh,
And
I bet that's some weird one.
he was replaced by the current head of the CIA at the time that had replaced Hillenkoetter. So he was replaced by Walter Bedell Smith. Now that's what the document says. Okay. Now it's like anything else in life. People die or people go away and they don't want to work on that anymore, and they get replaced. But if you keep your ear to the ground and you listen to kind of the rumors of what's being said on the street, if MJ12 or something like it does exist, they're extremely selective in anyone that they allow to get anywhere near. And you don't volunteer to work for them. You have to be asked, and they don't ask someone unless you have something that they need that you can offer. Mere curiosity is not a qualification to be on J12. Okay.
There was
Absolutely not. Yeah, go
There
ahead.
was rumors Dick Cheney was on the new board or something for MJ12.
If anybody would be, he would be. Okay. In fact, Dick Cheney, there were complaints in the neighborhood of the Naval Observatory, which is the vice president's residence. There were complaints about all the blasting going on. He had construction done so he had an underground office, and I don't know if it was a file room or a vault, probably an underground vault where he was keeping all his classified information. So Dick Cheney was he was serious as a heart attack. Now I don't know if he was associated with that or not, even though I think there was one little ditty that someone, when the presidents go along the line and they shake everybody's hands and people saying, "Nice to meet you, Mr. President," and somebody said, "President Bush, can you tell us anything about UFOs?" And he said, "Talk to Cheney."
Ah, that's telling. That's very telling.
Yeah, I can't support that. I don't have a reference to it, but I did hear that.
I heard like there's some people here like Joni Ernst who's involved and like in Iowa. I was just surprised to hear like in talking to um Stephen Bassett on who is involved in all this now. Do you think that I guess in all this I don't know, you don't have to answer this or anything, but do you think Rick Doty knows like he said that there's 3 or 4 types of different aliens that are here. They all have different types of, you know, some eat, some don't eat, different types of environment that they're in. I mean, what do you think that the MJ12 is really here for?
Well, if it exists, it's dealing with the UFO issues that they feel either affect national security or that affect the perception of the population of the problem. Now, uh, if if something is disclosed about aliens, um, and if society goes crazy, that actually becomes a national security issue. Okay,
Yeah, definitely.
and if the government, if the president or the secretary of defense held a news conference and they had photographs and of the aliens and the ships and all that, and they told us the truth about that, I think a lot of people would be going, "Am I going to get abducted too?" Because everybody has heard about that. They've seen the movies, they've seen the TV shows. A lot of them have read the literature. A lot of people have had experiences like that, and they talk. So there's a concern about how society would react if the truth be told, assuming that truth is the truth to be told. So, maybe they just figure it's better to just keep a lid on it and keep people guessing.
What do you think people's reaction would be if they say? I always think of okay, so what if Project Bluebeam were to like show up at our doorstep? And Aggie Noss has asked us this a few times. What would you guys do? I said I would run back in my house and I would call everybody I know and told them not to fall for what was about to happen. So, what's your total take on what they're doing? Do you think this is all about control? Do you think this is all about what do you see the the MJ12 their whole purpose of doing? And have you identified all 12 of them?
Well, there were the 12 people on the Eisenhower briefing document, and over the years, different names have been suggested, but that doesn't prove anything, and it certainly doesn't create a solid roster of people that we can say they're an MJ12. Now, there are some people that would be logical persons to be involved in that, but they may not be people that we know about. They could be below a certain level that are obvious, like the director of the NSA and the director of the DIA and the director of the CIA. Those are the first people that we think of. Well, they'd know everything, but it may be people at a slightly lower level that handle that, and then the higher ups are only informed if they feel like somebody needs to know something. And there's the principle of plausible deniability, and there's always been a lot of speculation as to whether the presidents are informed, are they read in, are they briefed. In some ways, it's better if they're not, and they can truthfully say, "I don't know anything about it." Okay, and that keeps them out of trouble. And then other times they throw broad hints, like even President Obama threw a couple of hints out there. But it's very important for the president, in particular, to maintain plausible deniability, and they find ways to deny it without lying. Okay, but I do think that based on the study that I've done about the UFO problem since World War II, that the government has had a long-term policy of what I call denial and deception. And they've been very successful in ridiculing the notion of UFOs and ridiculing people that report UFOs, while at the same time maintaining very close control over any information that is gained, particularly at the military level. So I think, and it's my opinion, that we're dealing with a program of denial and deception. You don't have to be a genius to see the way that the Pentagon is acting now when we have congressional people requesting and demanding more information from the Pentagon. And we've seen some real shenanigans going on there. And it's going on real time. We can see it right in front of us. And that's what I think they're going to do. They are not going to release any information unless they're absolutely forced to.
Well, then that means if there's nothing to see and everybody's delusional, there's millions of delusional people. You know what I mean? And we got a real mental health problem on that end. I mean, I'm an experience myself, and there's too much overwhelming evidence that they can't deny it. I mean, they can publicly deny it all they want. Really can't. It's about as far as they're going to get.
Well, and that's that's true, Rodney. But people get shot. Poor little innocent children get shot at schools, and innocent people get shot at malls, and we still have huge numbers of guns being manufactured and bought. Things keep going on, even though, at least on the face of it, it doesn't make any sense.
I guess I keep thinking problem, reaction, solution. People need to understand the government just, all this information and everything that has been or will be planned, I should say, has all strategically. This is the way I believe. And tell me if I'm wrong, if you feel like your information or your research has gone somewhere else. But don't you feel like, ahead of the game? I guess I remember John Anderson or saying, hey, the government holds technology 40 to 50 years before we even get a chance to get it. Or John Henderson, excuse me, John, he's a part of our group on Twitter. What do you think of all that? Do you think, how much of the CIA counterintelligence is involved, or how much of this? Because anybody right now, anybody that wants to raise their hand and say, hey, if the government came out tomorrow and said UFOs, they're real, this is really what's going on. And like Rodney said, the majority of us are just crazy people, lunatics that have been, not like we've spent every waking hour looking at this since we've encountered one. There's a whole different level of that going on. People don't understand unless they've been through this. This is a journey. You start and where you end is not the same place. You're a totally different person. So what do you think all of that is all about? Do you think they know who we are or know who the people are and just are trying to trigger some of this? Or what's your take on that part of it? Because Ronnie made a good point. Like, how many of us could be really eligible to enter that loony bin here at any moment, talking about our truths or talking about what happened to us, like during that?
Well, Rodney did make a good point, and I didn't mean to try to contradict you, Rodney.
No, not at all.
Fundamentally, there have been far too many reports of sightings and abductions and various and sundry experiences to dismiss all of it as not representing anything. Okay. The agencies within the executive branch, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the CIA, so on and so forth, they collect whatever information, data, and documents that they want to. They can also destroy it. Okay. Now, the government is a huge operation. The American government is huge. They collect so much material that storage becomes a problem. So they end up prioritizing, okay, is this important? We've got to get these files somewhere, and we don't have a budget to build a new building. Just destroy it. Also, there's been a practice in the Air Force that okay, they pick up a bogey, an unknown on radar, or in some other with some other uh, sensitive instrumentation, and they've got the mechanical or electrical or electronic uh, storage of that, but then so that was a UFO, and then they erase it. Okay, they're probably doing that too. Now, I've been told by someone that I respect and that is very well known in the UFO community, I won't say who it is, but I've been told that a certain government agency destroyed a whole lot of UFO files. Okay. And it wasn't just because they got up one morning and felt like destroying the files. It was because of a configuration of political issues that they did that. Okay.
Are you talking about Project Blue Book? Or are you talking
No.
about that J12? Okay.
I'm talking about files that on UFOs that a certain agency has or had. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for anything important that the government needs society to be on board with, they have to build cooperation. There's a book that was written by a very famous intellectual. It's called Manufacturing Consent. And so if we're going to go to a war in Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan, all these elements are lined up to get the population to accept and even enthusiastically engage in this policy, in this program. So and it's the same thing with UFOs, except it's on the negative side. It's managed. I think it's managed in such a way that the population doesn't get too uppity about it, and
Oh,
people
so
get
true.
very far with it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at the Congress people. How have they been treated? Oh, well, you're not cleared. You're not cleared to see this information, and they stonewall. Okay, they're stonewalling over there. Now maybe some of the congressional people has seen some things. There's the so-called Gang of Eight, the congressional leaders and the intelligence committees and all that. They may have seen a few little things, but they're told that on the understanding that they won't disclose anything. Okay, that's the only reason they get into that position is that they're trusted by the powers that be within the Congress. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's there's a lot of management, I think, going on.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time during, say, 2010, 2000 to 2017, when UFOs were in almost complete blackout in the major media. And then in 2017, things did change because Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal were able to get their article published. And that really was a watershed moment in the UFO world. And things did change for us then.
That's so true. Like during these times or whatever, do you think that, I guess the government, what do you think that they're, because, you got the task force that's coming out, you got this MJ12, you got CIA counterintelligence. I know they're trying to, maintain the control of the narrative, but what else are you seeing in here? Like, what do you think that people are going to go berserko if they say, hey, aliens are real, or if Project Blue Beam shows up at your doorstep next week? Are you gonna freak out? What do you think the people are gonna do? You think that's just a bunch of like BS, or do you think that's really the reason behind all this? Because I see people on Facebook and they're like, oh, if an alien abduction comes, I'm jumping on. It's like the majority of the people, I think, have a little bit of a grasp on it, but I just don't understand why the government is so important. Like, why the government disclosure is so important.
Well, first of all, I heard about Project Bluebeam way back in the 1990s. So when people talk about Project Bluebeam, I don't get too excited about that. Okay. There are people, Elizondo has said this and other people have said it, but there are military people and intelligence people in the US government that think that the aliens are demons and that we shouldn't have anything to do with it. Okay. That's one aspect. Now you're going to have some people in society that are going to think that aliens are demons as well. So that's an issue. Maybe we can look at other societies, other religions, as to how they would react. I have a feeling that the Hindu and the Buddhist religions would. Now I'm no expert, but I just think that they probably could handle it. I'm not sure about Islam. That's an open question to me. How they would accept or not accept UFO reality. Now they do believe in the jinn, and those are the little spirits that get involved with their neck of the woods. But how they, I also think that a lot of people, if the information was presented to them, that they wouldn't believe it, because the press, the Congress, the executive branch have lost so much credibility since, mostly since Vietnam, but they've lost so much credibility that a lot of people, I'd say half the people in the United States don't really trust the government anymore. And if they did come out with the truth, which I don't think they will, but if they did, I think there are a lot of people that wouldn't believe it. I think they would just think they're being lied to.
I think you're so right about that. And that's why I don't want them a part of this. I feel like they're going to pollute it. I'm one of those people. I am one of those people. I said, why should we even have to ask these questions if we're not being lied to? But I feel like, especially over the last 4 years, we have been definitely lied to. We've been tried to be, separated from one another, anything to divide and conquer. But yeah, I agree with you. I definitely do. What do you think? I mean, like you have your reaction, your solution, you have the problem, reaction, solution. It keeps us going. It just keeps going as it is. So I'm not sure what their play is on all of it, but what do you think ultimately that we're going with all of this? Do you think the population is going to have an absolute breakdown if they say, hey, the president's coming tomorrow? Or do you think the people are going to be like, oh, I don't believe it. Like, after all of this, forget that. I'm not going to buy into what they're saying.
Well, they're not, the only reason why they would disclose the reality is if they have to. They're left with no other choice. Okay. Now, the old joke, the landing on the White House lawn, kind of a, the day the earth stood still kind of a scenario, or they land on, at the Super Bowl, that kind of a thing. And if something like that happened, the rumors would go wild. Okay. They would go wild to the point that, there would be all of this hysteria, and all governments, no matter of what stripe, they have to be able to basically control their populations, because if they can't control the population, they can't stay in power. Okay. So they're going to find a way to control it. And now, a lot of times, all you have to do is form a simple cover story. Let's say a UFO crashes, a real honest to God alien UFO crashes somewhere. All they have to do is say it was a classified aircraft. Okay, they cordon off the area. If any citizens see it, they have a little talk with them, have them sign their lives away, maybe pay them off, maybe buy them a new house, maybe send them on a cruise, and make sure that they don't talk. And maybe they're monitored after that just to make sure that they don't talk. And they have a simple cover story. One example is when they exploded the first atomic bomb at White Sands, New Mexico. There's no way that people wouldn't notice that there was a big boom, and that the government came out and said that an ammunition dump had blown up. Okay.
Or was it the sonic boom? One of the two.
Yeah. The cover stories don't have to be that sophisticated, so that things can be managed. Now, unless we get into a situation where it can't be managed and they're forced to disclose something. But I don't know. I just think we're a long way from that.
I definitely do too. People are like, "Oh, disclosure," and I love Stephen Bassett to death, but he believes that this is the closest we've ever come, and it could be. I mean, they could be like they could drop something on us, but I definitely by no means think it's going to be the truth. Definitely not.
Yeah. Well, when the government actually discloses the truth, I'll buy Stephen Bassett's lunch. I'll take him out to dinner.
I love it. Yeah. But you know what? And I'll take him out for dinner because that's exactly where we're going. And I keep saying, I'm like, Steve, are you sure? He's like, no, this is the closest we've ever been. But they're starting to adapt to AI. What do you think about AI's mix in all of this? Because I've heard him say it. I'm like, he's like, well, so if AI admits to it, I'm like, that's not the same. That is not the same for an experiencer. But I guess I love Steve to death. Steve, if you're watching, we love you. But seriously though, I mean, for all means, like if you're not an experiencer, you're gonna have a hard time digesting any of this, any of this at all. So at what point do we say, hey, why don't the people come together here? Like, why don't we all join Tom here, who knows what's going on, and disclosure? Why don't we tell it for ourselves? Because there's so many, like we can back end some of these surveys that they were looking for, like the experiencers. I look for those, and even with MUFON and the Star Investigators, and hi Fred, I'm out there and I'm saying this, I'm sorry, but like all the investigators that are coming out, like why aren't I guess let me start here. We were always told as experiencers, the government doesn't care what you have to say. The government doesn't care what you had to experience. They don't care about any of that. So here I am, like running my mouth as normal. And then I find out, oh, no. Now AI is transcribing everything. Now you're on a government list. Wonderful. Because I'm not doing the job of the government. Everybody knows that. I'll resist that to all end. So what do you think the game is in all of this? Like conquer, divide? I mean, it just seems more cynical, I guess. I mean, they got a lot to lose. If they lose control of this type of narrative and the amount of information that and through all of this, what's your take on all of that?
Well, I think things have fundamentally changed with social media, with the internet and social media. And all these foolish people, me included, are going on these live streams and spilling the beans about everything they're thinking about. So all the people have to do on the other side is just monitor social media, and they get a very, very clear indication of what kind of discussions are going on and what people are thinking, what they know, what they think they know. So it's just extremely easy, I think, for them to do that. Now there may not be any nefarious consequences of it, but it's a simple matter, if they want to do so, for people within whatever agency to monitor social media, to have their finger on the pulse of what people are thinking and believing. And they see what happened in the 1980s was several UFO people were recruited to act as informers to AFOSI, the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Now, why they were recruited, I can think of several reasons, but there were people that were going back to AFOSI and telling them what this particular individual was studying or researching or investigating, what was being discussed at UFO convention or in UFO board meeting or something, and this information was coming back to them. Now, I was just going back through one of Jacques Vallée's his book Revelations, and it was something to me that was rather chilling, and that was that AFOSI had been recruiting informers so that they could construct profiles of UFO researchers and UFO groups. Okay. Now, why would you do that? You do that because that way you understand whatever weaknesses that person has. And by understanding a person's weaknesses, you can then, manipulate that person or that group. The thing is, and this just doesn't apply to UFOs. Anytime an individual or a group believes something so intensely, that opens them to manipulation. Okay, because the adversary can fashion information in such a way to turn it back on them, so that they are being manipulated. That happened after the Bolsheviks took power in 1917. They had this operation, and they had white Russians that had left Russia. A lot of them were in Paris, a lot of them were in Europe, some of them were in the United States. And they had a whole program to lure them back into Russia so that they could basically torture and kill them. And it's because these people wanted to believe certain things. And it's only natural that when people want to believe certain things, that those beliefs can be turned back on them. The same thing was done in Vietnam. I've been reading a fascinating book about the covert war against North Vietnam, and the CIA and the military figured out that North Vietnam was so tightly controlled that they couldn't start any kind of insurgency or resistance movement there. And the North Vietnamese were so paranoid about and so controlling about the society that all we had to do was convince them that we had an insurgency program, that we had a resistance program, which caused them to work even harder to maintain even tighter control. So they were being manipulated because they wanted to believe something very badly.
Well, there is cases even going back before we were technologically advanced. I don't need to go back too far, but 1561 Nuremberg, Germany, they were reporting spheres and cigar shaped like Tic Tacs even then.
Yeah.
So it's definitely things have been going on before we're technologically advanced. And there's a lot of repercussions there would be if it did have disclosure for world governments, because why is this shaped craft? What was it doing in our airspace? Why were these things happening to these people if aliens don't exist? And this is a study you guys are doing to see what themselves. There's no aliens, and everything that everybody's talking about in these groups have, I don't know, anywhere from 3,000 to 20,000 in each group, because there's numerous ones. It means that our government, world governments, are responsible for these things that are people happening than aliens. It's too far fetched. They could do it all.
Well, they record every phone call, everything on the internet, every email, everything is going into storage. They may not do anything about it, but they have access to it if they need it. And you wouldn't think that us little old UFO people would be of interest to the government, but sometimes we are. It's not that they're going to directly do anything against us, but they may be monitoring. Now, you got to remember too that you got the MUFON symposium, or you have Contact in the Desert, these type of conventions, and anyone can attend. So someone from the Defense Intelligence Agency or the CIA, or you name the alphabet agency, a person can attend a conference, and it's open to the public. Now, usually it's because the person has a personal interest in the subject, and they probably go to their supervisor and they say, boss, is it okay if I attend the MUFON symposium this year? And the boss says, oh, okay, just don't make an issue out of it, okay? And then they go attend, and they come back. Maybe they write a report. Maybe they tell their boss what something interesting that went on. So that kind of thing can go on too.
You're right, because with a high security clearance, and Fred Zhao he can verify for this. If he goes anywhere, he has to call and let them know where he's going to. So that makes perfect sense on how they keep, especially with our high clearance, people. But definitely, wow, that just kind of clicked for me. So keep going. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm here to answer any questions that you have, or anyone in the audience has.
It seems like our audience is really relating to you and what you're saying, and they're looking towards it. A lot of people are like, "Hey, what do we do now?" You got Operation Paperclip, so we brought these people over from, the Nazis. Like, they're looking to you as the expert on what should we do if our government comes out tomorrow and says, "Hey, these guys exist." Oh, hi, who's with you, Rodney? Who is
Hi,
that?
my dad stopped by to see if any
Oh,
just
hi, Dad. How are you? Welcome. This is
how you
Rodney's
guys here talking
dad.
about the share
Yeah.
this experience.
That's amazing. Hi, Rodney's dad. You're on air. You got about 300,000 people watching you live. So that's awesome. Yeah, but what should we do? And what you're saying too is like sometimes they follow the experiencers. And I was told by Stephen Bassett, yes, they do. They don't necessarily follow the phenomenon. They follow the people who follow the phenomenon. So the people who are so called on these like government lists, what should we do, Tom? Like, what's the next step here? How do how do we like maintain control of all of this and the narrative? Because it's a part of my life. I know it's a part of Rodney's life. I know it's a part of many others who are watching this. Like, what do we do? Do you think, hey, let's follow on? I mean, what is your advice for other people?
Well, my advice in general is that I would encourage everyone to read the UFO history literature. Okay. A lot of it is cheap. You can buy it at the bookstore, get it off of Amazon.com. A lot of books are available on archive.org. You can go in and read them on your computer. There are plenty of books that outline the history of UFOs since World War II that are pretty good. And now that doesn't mean that every single one of them is perfect, but you kind of have to do a lot of reading and a lot of study, and then you kind of form your own assessment of what your own assessment of the situation, and that's what I've done. Now, there are some things that go on in the UFO community that require, in my opinion, caution. One of them is people come out and they make claims. I'm a member of MJ12, or I saw a UFO crash, and all this. Can they support their claim? Okay. Do they have other people that will go public and support what they're saying? Do they have any documentation to support what they're saying? Do they have any supporting evidence? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to any of that, but you need to discount it when a claim is made and there's no supporting evidence for it. Okay, so let's not get all excited and lose sleep and throw, sling mud at each other over something
So true. Yeah.
that we don't even have any supporting evidence for. Okay. Now, another thing that I see going on is, and I do, you mentioned that I've been on Twitter Spaces. If I'm out walking around or driving or something, I'll listen in on a Twitter Space or two. There's way too much high school type stuff going on, like so and so X doesn't like Y, and Y doesn't like Z, and C blocked A, and A blocked C, and it's just high school kind of stuff. People enjoying drama and just generally misbehaving. And there's
true.
not near enough real people. I mean, if nothing else, just read UFO books. You'll learn something. I realize that UFO programs, TV programs, and movies are entertaining, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, I just encourage people to try to do a little bit of serious reading and study. I think that would help.
That is so true. That is so true. Like, if you have any questions, like, reach out to people. Like, don't just assume, because assuming is, as my mother said, makes an ass out of you and me. Like, it's not that. Definitely, it's not what it is, and they're gonna try and make everybody look like cuckoo wacko. Oh, there's another I don't know how many times I've been called a conspiracy theorist over this, but this is my life. It's like, this is my life. This is my reality. I didn't ask for it, but it came and it showed up on my doorstep. So I protect it. It's like I want to protect all of this with everything that I have. So where do you think that, like a good line to meet in the middle? I see people, like you said, you're like, oh no, that's great. Like, UFOs are coming. I need a vacation. Well, that's one way of looking at it. But another way of looking at it is like, okay, you're here and you're going to go through the experience that many of us have had. And it's not easy to go through that experience. It's not. It definitely is not.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not an experiencer, and I can't speak to that, except that unfortunately there is not the kind of medical and psychological infrastructure to help people that have had experiences that they are trying to cope with. Okay. And in the 90s, I was getting involved in the UFO business with MUFON, and we were very concerned about sending abductees to psychologists, because at the time, the big thing with the psychological community was that if you had any kind of mental issue, any kind of trauma, it was because you were sexually abused as a child.
So true. So true.
And
I want to, you like either that or you're going to go and you're going to end up in a mental ward, because people are going to use this against you. And I'm not lying. Like, this is a huge risk that people are taking on coming out and saying this. But this is what happens. This is what happens. Like, people, okay, when you tell them the truth, they don't necessarily like it. They're like, whoa, hold on here. Lock that lady up. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what I feel like is happening. I don't know how many people I've known this has happened to. And if I could talk about it fully, I would tell you that I am one of them without telling you fully. But I mean, for real, Tom, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, to the allegations, the level this is going, do you think that it's government, or do you think it's partly like, oh, people here I don't know how many times I've been labeled, oh, there's that conspiracy lady, the conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, man, I just love to whomp them over the head with something. You know what I mean? Like, as a
Smithfield Hand works, yeah.
Right.
Well, and I don't know what the answer is, because the infrastructure, given the really very large number of people that have had some kind of an experience or another, there is no infrastructure to deal with it.
No.
Okay. Now, sometimes locally, some abduction or experiencer support groups form, and I think that that's a really good thing. At least people are able to talk to others, and share as much as they're willing to share, and feel like maybe there's some mutual camaraderie and some support. That's about as far as we can go, because uh, I don't know the extent to which psychologists and psychiatrists are familiarizing themselves with the UFO and abduction and experiencer literature. I suspect very little, if
Do
at
you know
all.
that I was a mental health therapist for 7 years? I trained under Dr. Daniel Hughes under dialectical developmental psychotherapy, and I watched all this. And yet, like I make local intel, and I try not to say this because I get so upset when I'm talking about it, but I made local intel. Like, what are they looking for? I've been called a conspiracy theorist. I've been called all of this, and I'm like, you know what? Do whatever you want. I don't really care. But I've heard so many other people going through this, and it's like, if you're going through this, don't stop talking. Don't stop telling your truth, because that's what's most important. It really is. It's like there's this truth out there. So in studying like MJ12 and how far you've gone into all of this, do you think they're there for control? Do you think they're there for our benefit? What do you think they're even there for?
Well, assuming that it's true, both. They're there for both control and to hopefully someday engineer, some of, if not all of, the technology that they've gotten their hands on.
Oh, so
And
true.
the conventional wisdom in the UFO community is that they want to get their hands on the technology so that they can use it for, make armaments out of it, to use it in war and give us an advantage that other people won't have, and that will maintain technological supremacy. Now that's a lot of conjecture, because in the first place it assumes that they have something. In the second place, it assumes that they have been or are able to make progress in back engineering it. So now I neglected to mention that MUFON does have an experiencer support component. It's called ERT. And your listeners out there, your viewers, might want to keep that in mind. And MUFON's very easy to find. It's MUFON.com on the internet, and look up ERT, the experiencer support component.
Yeah, that's a good point. And definitely I think this is probably a good point. We have to take a top of the hour break, and Tom, I am so late on it because I'm so fascinated by everything you have to say. So everybody out there listening, if we could just take I'll shorten it as much as I can for the radio side. Like I said, we got a ton of new platforms, and we want to get Tom's message out there as best as we can. So, is it okay with you, Tom? Would you be able to take questions after the break? Is that okay? Or
Sure,
quick
love to.
hijack here? Awesome. So, we're going to go ahead and give Tom here a little break. We're going to put him behind the screen. And Rodney, what's your dad? Can he come on real quick, or no? Is he gone?
Oh no, he had to leave real quick. I wish.
Oh, Dad,
I
come
thought,
back. Yeah, no, I want to hear what he had to say. Yes, 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 yes.
I'll try to talk about scheduling tonight. Maybe we'll see.
Okay, yeah, could we do that? That'd be great. So, for everybody out there who is listening, we are on about every platform that you are looking on. So, just definitely stay tuned because we will be back shortly. We're just going to take a little 5-minute break, and we are going to come back with Tom Whitmore and more of the MJ12. And what does that mean to the experiencers? Let's hear it from Tom himself. So, once again, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with Rodney and Coley. And we are going to definitely light this up because I think Tom is just so wonderful. And if you have any questions, like I said, put them in all caps, and like you've heard so many people in the chat, like Scott Rosin, love you, Scott. We're gonna go ahead and put those in all chat so we can get those questions answered for you by one of our experts. So again, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown. We'll be back.
Unraveling the mystery, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the SNX quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the combination X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this road we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. In the skies, they're cruising fast. Truths are buried in the past. Lights are blinking through the night. Secrets hidden out of sight. Stars reflecting coded blinks. Messengers from distant links. Whispers travel through the air. Signs of life beyond despair. Let the veil
and cosmic dust, unveil secrets we can trust. Ruth and Margot meet your end. On this journey we'll transcend.
Verse 1, Shane Gorell on SNX radio. Treasure hunter on the go with maps in hand and texts aplenty. Seeking legends, age old and plenty. OF reads Celesta Pam and fought a while behind a be. The dreams and flyer drove the brakes.
Dark where shadows play, whispers of secrets that lead us astray. Lights in the sky, they flicker and fade. Questions arise and truths are betrayed. Echoes of voices from ages long past, glimmers of knowledge too rare to last. Chasing the night where the wild things roam. Are we alone or are we headed home? Mysteries, mysteries, dances in the dark. UFOs shining, igniting the spark. Aliens calling from faraway lands. Cryptids and Sasquatch, just take a chance. Illuminate the skies and break down the walls. Secrets unwrapped, hear the ancient calls. Together we rise, we won't be alone. Exploring the unknown, it's time to be shown. In every heartbeat there's a story untold. In the stillness, the mysteries unfold.
Off-world entities drifting through time. Paranormal whispers so hauntingly sublime. In the silence of night, there's magic to find. Embrace the enigma, let go of your mind. Eyes in the woods, they dance in the mist. Cryptids and legends, a chance we can't miss. Conversations with experts unravel the threads, connecting the tales of the living and dead. From the depths of the ocean to the stars up high, the stories we chase will never die. Every encounter creates and remakes the fabric of life intertwined with mistakes. Mysteries, mysteries, dances in the dark. UFOs shining, igniting the spark. Aliens calling from faraway lands. Cryptids and Sasquatch, just take a chance. Embrace the unknown, let curiosity lead. The truth lies within and it sets us free.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I think Coley's talking. Can you guys hear?
I don't think they could hear because I was muted. But yes, welcome back,
Coley.
everybody.
Hello.
So we got Tom Whitmore back with us tonight. So we are talking MJ12 and Roddy. I'm handing it over to you, buddy. Here we go.
Well, Tom, there seems to be so many unreported cases too, and there's so many people that are coming forward in this time of disclosure. It seems like that no matter what Majestic 12 does, that they're not going to be able to stop it. If this is real phenomenon, we're all having these real experiences, and they're alien.
Well, what we don't know, or what I don't know, is who has gone to the congressional people. I think there have been uh, some witnesses that have approached and reported to people in Congress that we don't know about. And there are other people, if Richard Doty is to be believed, there are a lot of other people that would like to go to Congress, but they don't feel like they have sufficient legal protection because most everything the military and the intelligence agencies do is classified. And people that work in the military and the intelligence agencies, they sign security agreements, they sign non-disclosure agreements, and there are very stiff penalties based on the Espionage Act if they disclose any unauthorized disclosure of classified information. So I think there have been some people that have gone to Congress, and maybe certain people in Congress have seen some startling things. But there may be people that we don't know about yet, that have done that.
It seems like for 30 years we've had a lot of credible people come forward to Congress. I mean, there's from the military, different politicians, people that were on the police forces, local places. We need to start seeing people showing up maybe at Congress like they rally for other things. I mean, there's a lot of experiences. Could you imagine how many experiences if they would show up to a place like Congress when they're holding these rallies? That would be a big gathering in itself. I mean, they've organized Raid Area 51. This could be something bigger if somebody could get behind it and organize it.
Well, in principle, I think it could potentially be that. There are practical problems with organizing uh, a lot of people, to go public and show their faces and make their demands. Um, and I think we always have to remember that I'm sure there are good people in Congress and all that, but they're politicians, and basically, fundamentally, all they care about is getting reelected. you know, and that's
I
just
agree. Yeah.
that,
Yes.
that's just a reality, that you have to work with. And if they have a very, very long list of priorities and issues that they have to deal with, and if there's not a really pressing reason for them to address the UFO problem, they've got plenty of other excuses not to.
Mhm.
But if 100,000 people show up outside their door, they certainly have to listen. I think it should be kept in mind that during the Vietnam War was very screwed up on the American side. It was not being run right. We had a very determined enemy that was bound and determined to prevail. A lot of Americans were getting killed, not to mention Vietnamese, and a dissent movement grew up in the United States, essentially out of college campuses. There were demonstrations all across the country, at college campuses and on streets in big cities. There was this organization called the MOB, the Mobilization Against the War. They had a rally on the Washington D.C. Mall. They must have had at least 100,000 people, if not many more.
Mhm.
That did not stop the Vietnam War. Okay,
No.
and people were getting killed. Now we've got people getting abducted, and they're upset and they're unhappy. But these are people that were getting killed. Now, eventually, Congress did end the war, and part of the problem, as I see it, is Congress does not exercise its authority and responsibility. The Congress has the power of the purse, and they can actually make a difference that way. But unfortunately, life is more complicated than that.
Yeah, it does seem like that the I don't know. What do you think, Coley?
I definitely agree with them. I think that life is definitely more complicated, and they put these things in there. But I do believe, from all the research that I've done, and especially talking to Tom, like the STAR research team, let's say the Roper's poll with, um, some of the government agencies that have been looking for the experiencers. We've always been told from the experiencer side, they don't care what you say. They don't care. Like Tom said before, here we are running our mouths, but that's truly like,
I think this is better than running their mouths though, because if we did organize and show up in public, they would sabotage it like other. I'm not going to mention any things, but
You can mention them. But let's just say that they're putting them out there. Like, so we're out there running our mouths and now they're all transcribed. So now everybody, like when I look myself up, I see yeah, I'm not that organized. I don't know about you, Rodney, but I am not that organized. And I see like pages of stuff coming up under me. And so I'm like, wow, going from not being, the government doesn't give a crap what you say or what your experience was, now we're going to come for the experiencer is a whole different way of life. So, I guess I'm so torn on this, and I'm so torn. What is Dodie? And I know Dodie's been like a topic, and anybody who doesn't know Rick Doty, I'm gonna say like I really do, and I understand his dad's been in this, he's been in this, he might be counterintelligence, but as Tom said before, there's always a nugget of truth in all of this. So, and hearing what he has to say and about the experience, and Bassett and some people outside of this, it's very interesting. Where do you think it goes from here, Tom?
It depends on whether the people in Congress that have been investigating this maintain an interest. Now, as I mentioned before, the Pentagon has stonewalled this whole thing, and which they can. They're a separate branch of government, and the Congress can go to the Pentagon and they say, we want to know X, Y, and Z, and the Pentagon can say, well, we're not giving you that information. And what are they going to do about it? The Congress doesn't have a police force. They can't go over and arrest the Secretary of Defense or whomever, and enforce it. And even if they wanted to go to the Justice Department is within the executive branch. So, if they maintain an interest, I think that we will eventually make some progress, but not a lot. And I think that, I know this isn't a popular stand to take, but I think that the Pentagon strategy is just run it along, stonewall, delay, deny, deceive, and keep doing that long enough, and eventually people will lose interest and move on. They'll have other things to deal with. That's what I think will happen. It's not what I want to happen, but it's what I think will happen.
Do you think they're just trying to desensitize the people like they always do? Like, oh, let's release this movie, and you guys are never gonna, it's like Independence Day, and they're all coming. Do you think it's all to desensitize us? What do you think the game is? Because I really feel like if they came out now and they're like, oh, no, what they're telling you is true, what's happening is true, that do you think people would freak out? Is that the real reason they're hiding this? I don't believe it. I really don't. I feel like people would be able to better accept that than some of the things that are going on right now in our government.
I used to be a little bit doubtful and skeptical that people in the government agencies cared about the UFO groups, but I've been quite sure, and I'm still quite sure, that one group that is interested in the UFO community is Hollywood. Okay. And they keep their they keep their finger on the pulse as to what the public is talking about and believing about UFOs. Now, it used to be, now I'm 72 years old, and I grew up with The Day the Earth Stood Still and The Invaders and The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits and all that. And I grew up with this nuts and bolts perception of space and all that. Now things are different. It's all dragons and castles, witches, and you know what I mean. It's they mix. They're mixing stuff together. There's a little bit of spacey stuff in there, but they've mixed it together. In the 90s you had the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and you had Hangar 18, and we had UFO Cover Up Live, and we had like you mentioned, these other movies up through, I'd say, maybe 2010 or so. But like I'm saying, it's the younger people now. My daughter is 30 years old and she plays Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. I mean, the mentality of the younger people now is different than the mentality.
It totally is. I tell my son, I said, your generation, my generation might be a bunch of degenerates, but your generation thinks they can make up total definitions of things that already exist. I agree. I'm with you on that one.
But I do think that, see, Hollywood wants to make money. They'll go after anything they think they can sell, that can sell legally, and maybe not so legal. But they pay very close attention to what goes on. And now, because of the studies that I've been doing, I do believe that certain elements within certain agencies are paying attention to us. Now, I'm not saying they do anything about it, but I think that they are paying attention. Especially now, you got to realize that, so there are certain people in the Pentagon that are it's been rather disquieting with all of this so-called disclosure movement and all of these Freedom of Information Act requests that are filed and all of these congressional, demands, and they've got witnesses going, over to Congress and talking to them. The Pentagon is probably feeling the heat. And but I think that if they can just stonewall long enough and deny long enough and deny any real information, that eventually it may not go away completely, but it'll be more manageable than it is now. And I'd like to point this out. Have you ever noticed that if we want to see a UFO video like the Tic Tac, and all of these, we get to see 3 seconds or 2 seconds of it. And well, why can't we see the whole thing? Well, we don't want to disclose sources and methods. But then when we get into a war, they're more than happy to show us their cruise missile blowing up some building or another. Okay. They don't seem to be so worried about sources and methods then. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I was thinking about bringing that up. You got Lou Elizondo, who is also a former intelligence of some sort, like Doty was, and they talk about all these the Tic Tac, the Go Fast, and the Gimbal. But we know that on each side of the coast, they were surrounded for 2 weeks by dozens of crafts. They got footage on radar. They got all kinds of uh, evidence. Then we know they do. They told us that anyways. That's what Lou Elizondo said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a bullshit. Oops, excuse me. I think he's a bullshitter. So I'm just like saying counterintelligence. Some of you can believe, some of you can't. But Tom knows this. I follow the TTSA all along. Why in the world would anybody, and especially without asking them their questions? At least Doty will answer your questions on this. But Lou is like, ask me a question. You don't get anything. You get nothing. And that's so frustrating when it happens to your own life.
Yeah. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I've always felt that he's sincere, but what do I know?
No, to each their own. Everybody, we're offering you information to see what nobody's experience is alike. Everybody and every one of us have had different experiences. I call them points of reflection. I say they're strong enough where we stop and we're like, okay, let's rethink this. Let's see what's going on here. But it's like when it affects your personal life like that, and somebody's like, "Mm, yeah. mm." It's like, come on, give us why can't you give the experiencers? And I've been there, like Tom, when we were in that group, people like Matt Tiller for Riller, I'll say it right out loud, offered me an NDA. If I signed an NDA on Twitter that year, I would have been privy to know all of what was going on, but I wouldn't be able to speak for 5 years. And I said, no deal. No deal. So what do you think in hearing all that and knowing all the people that had taken the NDAs, oh, you're in the privy to know, you've experienced something to know. To me, it's like, that's my story. You're not taking it. But then again, we get caught up into like, oh, this happened. And I know that you're, with your MUFON and the Star Investigators and everything that's going on, that was what was called back then. It's not the Star Investigators anymore. So I apologize. But what's going on? Do you know with MUFON exactly what they were looking for or what their interest was, I guess, in all of this with the experiencers? Because I know there was 3 different polls, and if we had back-ended at them, the biggest question is who stood in front of a craft for a period of time. That was the disqualifier. What do you think that they're looking for?
You mean the MUFON Star Team, or
Yes, that was in the Star Team. It's now in Fred. I know you're gonna yell at me for this, and I see him in the chat, but I can't remember what the updated version of what they're called now is. But basically, I don't know how many times I had a Star investigator call me. And they're in the Roper poll with Robert Bigelow and his. I'm just wondering what you think they were looking for, or what MUFON, because as we all know, and I will say this, and you don't have to, but MUFON has a backdoor to the DoD. They have a backdoor to the government. They have what we found, like going through all of this. So all of our information that's a trade off, everybody. That's a trade off you get. You shouldn't expect anything less, because if they're opening doors for you, there is a trade off through all this. Do you think that they're looking for a certain individual, or do you think that they're just looking for the phenomenon alone? I mean, sometimes I feel like, with these blood types that are going on, with all this information that is going on, like they're looking maybe for experiencers, and they tell, hey, we don't care what you think. We don't care what you experience. We'll never care what you have to say. We're looking to the government people. But what I've found out, I guess, what's going on is no, they're actually looking for the individuals. Do you think they're following the phenomenon like we've been told this whole time, or do you think it's something different?
well, if we're talking about OSAP, to me, the whole OSAP arrangement is very, very strange.
It is strange.
And in saying strange, I don't mean that it's necessarily nefarious, but it just doesn't seem to make sense to me. Robert Bigelow, for whatever reason, has had his own personal interest in getting more information and answers about UFOs. He's had tremendous, terrific financial capability. He's funded a lot of UFO researchers in their work, Linda Howe being one of them. So, and he has an in with a senator, and the senator arranges for some funding so that Bob Bigelow can take his people, some scientists and people that he knows.
He took over the FAA, and I'm a pilot. Like, I went to, aviation school as younger, but the whole reporting system under the FAA, he took control of. That's pretty big. I mean, you just don't step in there and take control of the FAA. It's not possible. But he took over the reporting system there for a brief period of time before it went to NASA. So have you heard? I know as the inside goes, and you're pretty up there, Tom. I know you're very you're very like Tom. You're very humble in all of this because you're a huge person in all this disclosure. So I'm just wondering what your take is on all of that. What you feel is happening, or what we should be looking for, I guess.
Well, let me share a story with you. Before OSAP, Bigelow approached MUFON, and the idea was that MUFON had never had the financial capability to fund immediate on-the-spot UFO investigations anywhere they needed to be if there was an urgent need to do so. And Bigelow comes in, and the idea is that he's going to provide lots of money, and MUFON forms a STAR team, a quick reaction team. And these folks go out, and when they hear that there's a good case, they go right out there and investigate it. And so, where's the money coming from? Now, this is back, when OSAP was running, many years ago, actually. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the money coming from? Well, there were certain people. We knew that Bigelow had money. That much was obvious. But there were two other people that funded, occasionally at least, certain UFO efforts. One of them was, at the time, the Crown Prince, who's now the Prince of Liechtenstein, Prince Hans Adam. And the other one was Lawrence Rockefeller. So I'm on the board and I'm asking, okay, so where's this money coming from? Well, private donors, Prince of Liechtenstein types. And okay, and so they do OSAP, and everybody goes on their merry business. I go on my merry business. 2017 comes along, and the New York Times article comes out in December of 2017. And I'm reading this thing, and I put two and two together that it was government money that funded it. Okay, and I hit the ceiling. Okay, because I knew that at least one or more MUFON board members were withholding that information. They were withholding material information from the rest of the board. Okay? That's my story.
And I remember coming out. Like, I remember contacting you and be like, hey, Tom, there is a back door here. And I remember talking to Iowa and saying, I'll talk, you know who I'm talking about, the leader of MUFON. Then I'm like, there is a back door here. There is a trade-off here. And I remember we found like one document out of all of it. And I have to say, Tom has so much integrity. He has so much. You've never ever tried to hide that information from me or from anybody, and you've always come forward with it. So I'm just wondering. That's why I think that the people need to know about you. People need to respect everything that you have done and everything that you have told, because you've told the truth. When we found the truth, you told the truth. So what do you think? I know that right now the DOD and everybody's, oh, that's crazy. The MUFON. I'm like, if you're crazy, if you don't think that there's a trade-off for this, MUFON comes and investigated. These are people who volunteer their time, like Fred, who's in our chat, and who do all this. But you'd be crazy to think that our government didn't have access to this information. What do you think they're looking for?
It's so hard to say because there's a fellow that wrote a book that was on the radio, and he was promoting his book, and he was claimed to be an abductee and that he had had very, very negative experiences. He claimed that the aliens had tortured him on a number of occasions. And concerning this whole question of my lab's, military abductions, his claim was that when abductees come back, they're very psychic. They have a very psychic thing going on. And that's when the military people show up, because somehow they want. Now, this is just what this guy is saying. I don't know if it's, what's really going on. But that might be one reason, that we're getting these My Lab rumors. And it might be something that at least part of the structure out there is looking for, that there is a psychic, telepathic component going on. Now, if you listen to Richard Doty, he says that he learned that the Defense Intelligence Agency had a map of the United States with pins stuck on there as to who was being abducted where. Okay, they're tracking. I can't just call up the Defense Intelligence Agency and say, "Is that true?" Or if I filed an FOIA request, they're not going to tell me. But that's another possibility that they're tracking abductions. And then they've got the Pentagon does have high technology, highly classified programs that they're protecting. They have security, and they want to keep not only the U.S. people, but they want to keep foreign adversaries away and not know what's going on. Now, I don't know how successful they are at doing that. So, the more spy books I read, the less I think that they're very successful at that. But that's another thing that they're tracking. They want to know what information is going where. And there was a paper written by a person in the CIA that said that some people in the CIA were getting concerned in the 70s that UFO people might be approached by, Soviet spies. There's a little thing that went on in the early 50s called the Robertson Report. And it was a couple of meetings by some scientists, and they looked at a couple of UFO films and went through some information, and they wrote up their summary. But the most interesting thing to me was that they said that UFO groups needed to be monitored. Now, this is going way back to 1952. Okay, 1952.
You're right. Anybody will tell you there's 2 in every group. There's 2 now watching.
Yeah, and they specifically mentioned APRO, okay, the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, which during the 50s and 60s and into the 80s was really, the top or one of the top UFO investigative organizations. And I happen to know from my own research that AFOSI had recruited APRO's office secretary, and that secretary is passing information onto AFOSI. Okay, and I can back that up, and that's just one example. I'm trying to. I'm repeating some conjecture and some rumor, but I'm also repeating things that I've researched and that I know about.
So, is there any cases that you think that are more stand out? Like, yeah, this is definitely there's something going on with this one. Like most recently, we had the Miami Mall incident, but before that was Las Vegas landing. Miami Mall, it seemed like there was so much different footage that was conflicting with each other, where that was completely fake. But the Las Vegas landing had a lot of compelling evidence.
I think a significant event was the so-called Cash Landrum incident that happened in 1980. The people involved were driving down a road at night in East Texas, and this craft comes along and it's emitting heat and radiation, and the women were exposed to it, and one of them had apparently some pretty serious health problems because of it. And there were a lot of helicopters surrounding the craft, and any attempts to get any information about it were absolutely, completely stonewalled. Okay. Now, was it an alien craft, or was it a human-made craft, or was it a blend? Now, if you want to believe Richard Doty's claim is that it was actually an alien craft, but the U.S. couldn't reproduce the propulsion system, so they used some kind of a nuclear propulsion system, and that the craft was tested at Area 51 quite a bit, and it worked just fine. And the craft was being transferred from one place to another, and it had problems. And it wasn't it wasn't supposed to be getting that close to the individuals that met it on the road. And that's why the helicopters showed up, and everything was basically covered up. So that's one instance that I think is very significant.
Don't seem to have too many questions in the chat. Any of you guys in the chat have any questions? All right, Tom, Scott asked, Tom, you got any hybrid programs, managed type involved? Anything on the hybridization program?
Well, all I have are stories, there were reports of abductees, and this is going back 20, 30 years or more, of women that, they're abducted and they're basically sexually molested in kind of a medical scenario with the aliens, and then they're pregnant. They were pregnant, and then the pregnancy goes away. The doctor can't explain it, and then later they're abducted. They're taken on board a craft, and they're shown this hybridized baby, and they're asked to hold it, or something like that. We were getting stories like that.
Do you think this hybridization program isn't anything new? That it could have been going on for not just hundreds of years, but maybe even longer than we even think?
Well, there's a school of thought that at least one alien group has been managing our genetic history, for a very long time. I don't know, but maybe it's true, maybe it's not. We are awfully different than the rest of the animal kingdom. Yes, we're mammals, and yes, we're very close to the apes, but we're so many levels above any other animal's capability in that way that certain people might be tempted to speculate that there's been some kind of intervention in our own evolution.
There can't be a missing link. If we can do all the things man has done in the last 100 years, they know what we are.
Yeah.
My question is like, do you know, I guess from on the inside, what they're looking for in individuals who have claims of UFO, like abductions or interactions? Like, is there anything that you can pinpoint in particular that sets us apart from anybody else?
So I want to make sure I understand. You're asking, right, what do the military and intelligence people want to know from abductees or experiencers?
Or who are they trying to identify, and why? Like, is there certain characteristics, or is there certain people that are watching? I guess, what's your whole take? Because you had a great perspective on where you stood with the MUFON board and all the research you've done. What are you finding, I guess, as maybe even patterns or anything that you felt they were looking for in any of us?
I really can't say anything more than what I've already said tonight. I do think that if Richard Doty is to be believed, and if what he's said is correct, that they are probably tracking how many abductions are taking place based on whatever information they can collect, and maybe they're sticking pins on a map, that kind of thing. They don't necessarily have to operate covertly. There's so much information in the UFO literature. There's open source information, and there's information on the internet, and there is social media. There is this program, Tom Whitmore saying what he thinks is going on, and they can just watch and listen and collect, and they may not have any one thing in particular that they're looking for. Now, if there are several groups of aliens operating here, and apparently, assuming that aliens do exist and that they're doing things here, there are probably several groups, and they may be trying to track that, which group is doing this, which group is doing that, that kind of a thing. Just normal intelligence work, really. It's just like in intelligence, you want to know, what is the enemy doing? How many tanks does he have? How many airplanes does he have? How many airplanes are sitting at what, military base? That kind of a thing. So they're collecting data about issues that whatever they see as being important. I think there was a question: have I ever talked to Ryan Wood? Yes, I know Ryan Wood. I talked with him. Had coffee with him at the Contact in the Desert just a couple of months ago, and I've known his father for many years. His father was on the MUFON board, and he was very kind to me. I considered his father a dear friend. I visited his home more than once. Him and Linda Wood. Bob Wood was. He lived into his 90s. He's deceased now, but he actually let me have his whole MJ12 file, 9 boxes of material, and we had them shipped to my apartment in Washington, and I photographed it all, and I have it all on file, and then I shipped the boxes back. So yes, I know Ryan Wood. Now I don't know Ryan well, but I know who he is. He knows who I am and all that.
On mute. But Tom, you're not a small name in this. You're a huge name in this. And what you've done is like spectacular. I know you're very humble, but if you guys look up Tom Whitmore, I mean, he is somebody you would go to for these kind of answers. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay, did you want a box of chocolates or a fruit basket?
I love you, Tom. You know that. Like in the beginning, I was like, I tell people, I'm like, I had 1 subscriber. I really did. And there were like a fragment of the people that were even willing to talk to me. And you were one of them. And we ended up in some great groups together. But I've always said Tom holds integrity. He holds the truth, and he won't like hold back on telling you what he knows. Like I've seen how you and Doty, I'm sorry, but you don't hold anything. It's Tom Whitmore on this one. Because I said it, Tom, you didn't say it. So I've seen you go after the answers, and I love it because I've looked up people's dog missing information to find out their contact information. There is not a step I won't go to try and bring the truth to people. And I've seen you go that route, and I've seen you get attacked, and I've seen all that. Like we all haven't. But I am so proud of you for all of you done. And I'm so proud of you for coming out even despite of the trolls and everything else. Because I know you took a hard hit there for a bit. And so I just wanted to thank you for coming forward and talking about the truth that people need to digest. Because whether you think this is coming to a neighborhood near you, it's coming and it will come. And when you decide, and when it decides to come, if the Oh my gosh, I look out and I see like 300, UFO above me, and Jesus Christ is there too, and he's telling me, and I'm like, man, what are you gonna do? That's gonna be your split decision right there. You can send your kid around at 5 years old and ask every neighbor in your neighborhood if Santa Claus is real, and then we'll have this discussion. But what do you say to those people? They're like, the vacation's coming. I'll jump aboard the UFO, blah, blah, blah. Or you have the devil is there. It's like there's no middle ground for this. There's no
Well,
how do people digest this?
some people are hung up on MUFON. Like, the problem is MUFON. Let me tell you something. Since 2017, there are a whole lot more UFO groups. Citizens for Disclosure, Declassify UAP, Enigma Labs, Expanding Frontiers Research, the Galileo Project, ICER, Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, Mossbridge Institute, New Paradigm Institute, Opus, SCU, Sol Foundation, To the Stars, UAP Med, UAPX. Is that enough? Okay. It's MUFON is not it anymore. Okay. MUFON is just one player in really an expanding movement, and these groups are popping up like mushrooms, and new people are coming into the field all the time, every day.
I agree. I agree there. And Rodney and I hear like every day, some of this. So what would you think about, and I know you're big on Twitter Spaces, and we wanted to Stephen Bassett. And I think it would be great to have you and Stephen and maybe Rick Doty and put on the same platform. Would you be open to that? Just wondering. I put you right on the hot chair. But at the same time, you know so much. And I know that like people have come after you for a lot of things, but there is nothing that people can say that your integrity, that your truth, and that what you're saying is available. You have researched this in and out, and I'm saying that I would love to organize it. But I'm saying, why not do a Twitter Spaces with all of us where we can come together and, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it would be so beneficial, especially
Okay.
when those experiences are out there. Like, I know you do Twitter Spaces for those of you who are on X, which we have a huge abundance of you. We have about 200 on X. So look up Tom Tulsa. I've seen that you're so I would love to like just organize something so we could all come together and maybe come up with a plan. Maybe we can come up with some common ground here, at least I don't know.
Okay, I'll consider it.
Okay.
And as soon as we get off the air, I want you to tell everything everybody's been saying about me.
No, I only know from you. If anybody says anything about you, I'd like to clock him over the head because you're one of the only people. And Rodney, what did I say about Tom? Let's ask Rodney because Rodney knows the inside. Rodney, don't hold anything back. What did I say
I
about
heard
Tom?
you had nothing but good things to say about you. People attack MUFON. Yes, you were part of MUFON, but you are genuine in what you're saying. And if you don't know what you're talking about, you'll say, yeah, I don't really know much about that. There's too many people saying they're UFO experts, and that really turns me off when they say expert, because this phenomenon is so big that there's no experts. You're focused on Majestic 12, and who else to go to but Tom Whitmore for somebody who's spent you're 70 what? 72?
72.
72. You spent your life. This is a lonely life that we all as researchers live doing this research. And
I've been in this field for 35 years.
yeah.
Tom, will you tell people what got you into this? Because, okay, people understand the MUFON board. Tom was ahead of the entire MUFON board. He's not like he's in Iowa. It's not like he's in, sorry, Fred, I didn't mean to say that, Nebraska. But let's just face it here. Tom was ahead of all of this. So you had, maybe privy to information. I'm just saying you're definitely a great resource here. Like, you're definitely like, I don't know. In all the years I've known you, I've never known you like to BS or to whatever. You bring it forward. If you find something, you don't hide it, you put it forward. So I'm just wondering, like, what got you into this?
What got me into it?
Yes.
Well, when I was 12 years old, I read Flying Saucers Serious Business or Flying Saucers Top Secret, and the rest is history. In the 80s, I saw the UFO Cover Up Live program. That impressed me, rightly or wrongly. And then I started, getting into it. I started reading up on it. Joined MUFON, got my field investigator's card, and have been reading, studying UFO history ever since. And then I've been on the MUFON with the MUFON organization, MUFON board. And then I had done some internet research when the family was still around, and then after I retired, I've been devoting myself to this project. So
I
I
know
learned
you
a
have.
lot.
You
And
moved all the way out to Washington, D.C. I remember when you did it. And you were there because you're like, the archives are here, the libraries are here. So you were right there. I mean, who does that? If you're not that dedicated to it, you're not going to move out to Washington, D.C. You're not going to go through all this. But I saw you do that. And I saw
yeah,
you do it for such a purpose. What is your connection? Like, why help us? Why help the people with
I help
why
you.
UFOs? Yeah.
Well, I meant to ask you, to what address should I send my invoice?
I'll text it to you after. Tommy, you know I love you to death. Like, I swear to God. Like I said to Rodney, I said, there's a point where I only had one subscriber and it wasn't that great. So, I mean, I came in contact with some great people like yourself, and we ended up in groups together. And thank God, because I wouldn't be able to ask these questions. I'd be asking them to myself. So that's why, and through all this, I was told I'm here for communication. So here I am asking away at those questions nobody wants to ask. But I'm telling you, Tom Whitmore right here is such a resource for information that you don't even know. And even when I came at you with MUFON and all the DoD stuff and everything else, you didn't just shut me down. No, you helped me out, and that says so much to me. And I'm saying, for your integrity, and anybody who knows me, they're like, "Oh, Coley." No. Tom was there, and he was more than willing, and I didn't have to threaten him. I didn't have to hold him hostage. Right, Tom? I mean, we were just instantly like friends. You were great. And as a non-experiencer, that's huge. That's huge to an experiencer, especially with somebody with your wealth of knowledge, to your wealth of people that you know and everything else. Like, you're amazing. You're in the history books, Tom. You're in the history books, whether you want to be or not. You're there. So, what advice do you offer to the rest of us?
Well, I don't know. I guess I like people, and I like to talk, and I have a lot of opinions, and I enjoy discussing the subject. I live alone and I work alone, and there are times I like to get out and talk with other people and share at least some of what I've learned. Now, I am withholding a little bit of information because I don't want to spoil the book. Okay.
Right.
But you're getting, 95% or more of every. You can go on my blog and see a whole lot of stuff, as you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And I recommend people, if you want to read up on this subject that I deal with, if you go in and read my research papers and look at my endnotes and my appendices, you'll have plenty of material to study. Okay.
So true. And you're not going to BS anybody. So where do people find you, Tom? Other than Tom Whitmore at your blog, where else can we find you? Other than Tulsa Tom on Twitter. And I swear to God, if those trolls come after you, Tom, you just tell me. You just tell me, because I'm going to come after them. Because if you shut Tom down, I swear to you again, Like,
Is it okay if I
he's
call
a
you at
friend
3
for
in the
me. I'm gonna
morning?
come for you. Go ahead. What's sorry?
Okay, I'll call you at 3 in the morning if something happens.
Right, you know you can. You know you can. And we've talked about this, and there's been people in our groups or whatever. But I know some of you come for trolls for Tom. And if you come for Tulsa Tom again, or Tom Tulsa, I'm going to come for you. Because I want the truth out there, and I don't want him shut down again. I think you should have a wide communication open, because you're one of the best in my book.
Okay, well, my blog is tomwhitmoreblog.wordpress.com. It's tomwhitmoreblog.wordpress.com. And that's most everything right there. And then sometimes I come on, programs like this, and I've got 2 other ones I'm going to do this month. And in my blog, I do have a list of all the appearances that I've made. Now, some of the links may have decayed by now, but there's a list of all the appearances that I've made. And if you want to go back and listen to, what I've said on various programs.
Absolutely. And we promise to get you out to about every platform. Rodney and I, between the two of us, we got you. We got you about 20 platforms. You're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're across the country. What are your if you had an experiencer in front of you, or you had this whole thing in front of you, what advice would you offer to somebody? Like, what are your words of wisdom?
Well, I do know this, that typically when a person undergoes an abduction or some kind of an experience, they want somebody to be able to tell them what happened to them. They want an answer. And we don't necessarily have definitive answers. Okay. Now I can tell a person, what I've read about and what I've heard about and what seems to be going on. And I would tell the person that if they have the presence of mind, the stability of mind, to do what I mentioned earlier, which is start reading up on the UFO field and start learning more about it. Because if a person hasn't been interested in the subject and doesn't know anything about it, and something like that happens, they don't have any context. Okay. So start reading, I can recommend books to a person. Start reading. If there's an abduction support group in the area, I could recommend that. At least they can talk with other people about what happened to them, maybe get some support. Take a chance with a psychologist, to talk to about it, or a priest or a minister, someone that's halfway sympathetic. Okay. And like I mentioned, there's the MUFON ERT.
There's the ERT. Rodney has a great group, S.T.TAR. Rodney, you can tell him what it stands for. But we're trying to, Rodney, go ahead. Sorry.
We're trying to get people to organize and realize, there's so many experiences on every continent, and that they're not alone, and they're how different they are, and that they don't need to be afraid to express themselves. It's STAR. The acronym is support for those abducted and returned, because we are millions, and we do feel like we are disclosure. We keep doing what we're doing here tonight.
Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Well, Tom, we're going to ask you on air, since, if I ask you behind the scenes or whatever, people want a part 2. They want to know where you're coming, your book, all that information. I've seen it in chat. So when can we expect your book? When can we expect you to come back on? When do I have to harass you?
Well,
if that means calling you in the middle of the night, Tom, when do I need to do this? Because we want you back on. I love you to death. I really do. You've been one of the closest people to me through this whole journey, and I just definitely, I remember that.
Well, as for the book, it's going to be a long time. Okay, it's just going to be a long time, and I wish, frankly, I've been working on this for years, and I wish I had it behind me, but I've still got a lot of work to do, and it's just going to take time. That's all I can say. And like I said, I'm not working against a deadline. I don't have a publishing contract or any of that yet. Now, when
What
I
if I
get,
could find you one? What if I could find you
well,
one?
once I get the book essentially written, then I'll go, find a literary agent or find publishers that would be interested.
Well,
I'll do-
Rodney and I have some contacts. So if anybody is listening to this, then I'm going to email this to you. Listen to Tom Whitmore because we want his book. We want his story. We want his information. So, again, Tom, when can we have you on for part 2?
Well, at least until tomorrow morning. I need to go to bed and get some sleep.
Well, okay, we'll respect that. So, if anybody has any last minute questions, please ask Tom. Tom is definitely one of my I from start to finish, you're definitely one of the people that have been there for me. So I love it because all the people have heard me talk about my story, but I love it when I have somebody that I'm like, Tom, no. Tom has been there on Twitter. He has heard this whole Coley craziness and my whole story, but yet you were so much, and Fred and like some of the rest of the people in our group, like it's just so amazing. So I just, we want to have you back on. I know I've been harassing you for quite some time and pulling the oh, please come on, Tom.
Maybe October. Let's try October. How about that?
I'll take it. Rodney, October, work for you. We'll take it.
Great. We'll hold you to it.
We're holding you to it. Yeah. So again, if anybody has any last minute questions for Tom, but Tom, again, tell our audience because this is going out. This is going to go to about 20 more platforms. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can ask you questions.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm on tomwhitmoreblog.wordpress.com, and I'm on Twitter at Tom Tulsa. That's at Tom Tulsa. I don't do a lot on Facebook. I do have a Facebook account, but I don't post on there very much. But I'd suggest either my blog or Twitter. Okay.
And you're open to a maybe collaborative Twitter Spaces between all of us. Hugs.
Sure.
Hugs, Tom.
Sure.
He's gonna call me after this and be like, "What the hell are you thinking?" I know, no, but really, Rodney and I, we would love to join you on your Twitter Spaces, and we would love to be a part of this. So anyway, Tom, thank you so much for your time, and we know that we've taken a lot of it up, and we just want to thank you so much because I've been waiting for this. I always when I ever hear Tom Whitmore, I'm like, oh, Tom, he's been there. Like, you're one of those initial people. You're like that rock in my life. So there's those people in your life when you're like all this craziness is going on. Somehow I found Tom Whitmore. Tom Whitmore found me. However was the case, we came together, and I absolutely will tell you, he is one of the best. And
thank you for having me.
Oh my God, we're gonna have you again.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you, Rodney.
We're gonna get you again in October. So this is gonna go out to many platforms after, and we just want to thank you from the bottoms of our heart from listening. And Tom, in closing, is there anything that you wanted to say to the viewers? You got about 300,000 people listening to you right now, and hopefully we'll have more by then. But is there anything that any words of advice that you would like to tell everybody?
I'd just like to say that the UFO subject, the UFO field, is a very difficult field. It's very frustrating. It requires a tolerance for ambiguity, and it requires patience, and it requires a long-term perspective. And I just encourage everyone to hang in there, try to learn as much as you can, but keep at it. Don't give up.
Absolutely. And then from the bottom of my heart, Tom, I have so much love for you. And Ronnie, did I not tell you Tom was one of the greatest? I told Ronnie, I was like, he is the best. I probably bragged you up like galore. So again,
no, Tom, I didn't realize how well researched you were in Majestic 12. I had no clue.
Okay, thank you, Rodney.
Yeah, so we're so happy to have you on, and guys, we're gonna have Tom back on. Believe me, I'll hunt him down if I have to. I'm just kidding, Tom. You know I will though. You know I will though. So he's coming back on in October. So mark those calendars because we are having
Well,
We
I
are
have a Ring security system.
oh, excuse me, we're having a little, but we are having Tom Whitmore back on in October. So mark your calendars. If we don't have him on, you come and hold me accountable personally. Otherwise, until then, we are going to hold the faith and we're going to hold people like Tom Whitmore. And obviously, if you have questions or any, Tom, you're like one of the most down to earth people. They can contact you, right? If they have questions, if they have like information or I mean, you are so down to earth. You really are. Like, it's okay to contact you. Is the best place to reach you at your blog, or where can the
Yeah,
people find
my
you?
blog or on Twitter. Yeah,
Or on Twitter at Tulsa or Tom Tulsa. So,
yeah.
as Tom said before, we're gonna do a Twitter space. Did you hear him say that, Rodney? Because I think I heard him say that.
Yes,
He's
I
gonna
did.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
Tom. So Tom's
I-
gonna have a Twitter Spaces with SNX Radio with me and Rodney. He's emails hear that because I think I see hands going
just
up
make sure
galore.
that the other participants in the Twitter space are human. Okay.
Right? No, 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 no. I've got a, I've got a plan in mind, Tom, and you're gonna love it. I know you will when I talk to you about it. So anyway, Rodney, are there any closing words for Tom before we let him go? Because we've actually like held him hostage here for a good over the time, but I love it. You guys don't understand how attached I am to Tom. He's been one of the few, and like, every time I just wanted to catch up with him. So thank you for bearing with us. But Rodney, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a great conversation in the green room. Great conversation tonight. I'm sure you answered a lot of questions that people had. Some of the questions you were answering before we had a chance to ask them. I look forward to your book and having more
In
conversations
October, and our
over.
Twitter Spaces. Say that out loud, Rodney, because it is all being documented. AI is.
Sorry, speaking to the microphone. Yeah.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for being our guest tonight, and we are going to see you soon. So, Rodney, isn't Tom one of the best? I absolutely love these people. You know what I mean? That they're right there. They know your story. It's like they've been there for so long, but it's great. What do you think of Tom? Isn't he wonderful?
Yeah, it's that 5%. I can't wait to hear from him. It's going to be in the book that he wanted to talk about, but he instead to stop himself. He's like, well, that's going to be my book. So be looking for that and pre-order it. Hopefully we can.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your dad, is your dad still there? Can we
No,
get your
no,
dad on?
he just went to get some pizza with the kids and then came back. But yeah, he's
Aw.
aware of all this. He knows it. But
How long before your dad's gonna be back? I'm willing to wait here for like a couple minutes if you'd like.
he just dropped the kids off and didn't come in. It's hard for him to get in and out anymore. Really, he's 80, just turned 85 on July 1st.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, tell your dad happy birthday from all of us and would love it. I absolutely love it. So, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio. I think that my mic, Rodney. I'm gonna let Rodney take us out. Rodney, you've done awesome. I love this spot. I think I'm gonna take this
When
spot
you
permanently.
guys don't see me here over on SNX Radio, I do spend a lot of my. That's the wife getting home right now. I spend a lot of my time on podcasting. It's audio only. We just listen to some 900 songs I've collected about this phenomena. Many of them from mainstream artists you don't even know about, from all genres of music and everything. That's all I listen to. I don't listen to mainstream music anymore. Coley's the woman. She has put worked so hard on all this. You guys have no idea how hard this woman works. I know what's it take to put this out to all these platforms between here and Andromeda Galaxy. I
He
mean,
is so being nice, but I
you
have to
know,
brag about us for a second because we're like, we are not only here, we are bringing it in the UK and we are bringing it into Canada now. We are on about every platform, right, Rodney? I mean, like we're kind of like I don't
yeah,
know, we're
everywhere.
coming in there, yeah, we're coming in with
So,
a bang. So you can find us on what is it? Amazon, iHeartRadio. We're on UK. We're on Canada. There's a whole list. And please check out the S.T.A.I.R because that's Rodney and he's running that show. So he's doing a phenomenal job. And I have to say, we'll pat ourselves on. I'll pat. Oh, who do we got here? Oh, hey, girl. How are you doing? Hey, bring her on, Rodney. We want to say hello. Come on. We want to know. Yeah, Cassandra, get your ass back on here. I love you, girl. Thank you for all you're doing for our show. Hey, look at this is Rodney's girl. Hey, I'm so glad you're step on here. This is Cassandra. Look, yes. What do you think, girl? You are doing so much for our show, and we appreciate you guys so much. This is so exciting. Thank you. Anything you want to tell the audience? Is there anything that I mean, you're on there and you're commenting, and you know my love for you and your family is just unbelievable. Thank you for stepping on here. This is the girl here. This is Rodney's wife, and she is definitely doing so much behind the scenes. So let them know who you are, girl. You got 300,000 people listening to you.
I'm so uncomfortable. But anyway, just keep being strong, guys. Like, keep pushing that stuff, letting people know, getting the word out. That's just how we got to be strong. We got to let them know. I'm not talking about the aliens. I'm talking about the ghosts, the cryptids, all of it. Like the poltergeist. Let's get her done. Get it all out there.
You're awesome. You are absolutely awesome. And I appreciate you sharing Rodney with the rest of the world here because we absolutely, and seeing all you've done, and I've told him a bazillion times, I was like, your wife is great. She's on here. She's like commenting. She's working the chat. Like, thank you. We just want to thank you on behalf of SNX Radio for being such, and for exactly sharing your husband with all of the world. So, and this is
up there.
and I love how you're doing it too, Rodney. Be like, so we just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, like, and all the work you do in chat and all the work that you guys are doing, both of you, because I know it's such a huge sacrifice, but you know we love you. We are sending love to you and your family. Oh, look at we got Cassidy. Like, people are knowing who you are, Cassidy. Now you got, you know what? Now that you hopped on here once, you're gonna have to hop on here again. It's bound to happen. We got Scott Ross, and everybody's starting to recognize who you are, girl. I love it. They're all recognizing who you are. So, in watching the show, what do you have to say to your husband on behalf of all this? Because it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of like integrity. It takes a lot of all of that. And he's really hopped to the surface. And to see such a husband and wife team like that, you guys are amazing. You really are.
I'm so proud of him. Super, super proud of him.
Isn't that great? So, does your local people, do they see him as a celebrity yet? Because if not, we're gonna make it happen.
He was in the parking lot the other night. Somebody walked by. They were like, "Hey, there's that guy that talks about aliens and UFOs all day."
I love it. I love it. I love it, girl. And you know what? Anytime you want to come on here, or anybody that you want to have on here, like I said, I know Rodney told me you're like kind of like big into the paranormal, so we love it. You hop on, yeah, you hop on here anytime. You hop on here anytime, for real.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Yes. So on behalf of well, you know, as Coley, I probably like interrupt. I don't know. I would love to thank Rodney and his beautiful wife, as you guys see here, Cassandra. Right? She's great. She loves paranormal. She's totally backed Rodney up on this like journey, and we're so thankful. We are so thankful for you and your family. We really are. And I always tell him, I said, someday my son Brody and your children, I hope they carry on this legacy, because Rodney is as much as SNX radio as I am. So we're, you know what I mean? Don't ever think that we are of equal value here. And here is him and his family and me and my family, and we are joining forces. So I love it. So thank you so much for you guys and your time and all the effort and everything that you put into all this. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And when Patrick Cross is on again, you got to get on there, girl. You got to get on there. Rodney's like, Mom, my what? I was like, so now that you're on here, so now you see it's not that bad. So even though we got like 300, 400 people listening to us now, and it's going to go up to like 300,000. You're doing great. It's not bad.
No, it's not.
You just think like it's me and you having a conversation, and we're good, right? We got. So I wanted to thank you though again for all the help that you're doing in our groups and in Rodney's group and in my group, and it's not just my group. I don't mean it like that, but I mean our group. So yes, I'm so glad our families. And so I usually tell Rodney, take us out, but tonight I'm gonna ask Cassandra if she'll take us out.
All right. Stay weird, stay positive, enjoy the crazy.
I love that because I'm all about that crazy. So thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with me, Coley. And of course, Rodney's beautiful wife, Cassandra, and their beautiful family. We thank so much for. So they've given up their time, their energy, and their alone time above all else, to be here. So, like I said, hey girl, you let me know who you want to get on here, and we can do some shows here. Rodney, if he's listening in the background, but we can do some shows here. I know you love the paranormal. Let's get you on. You're great. You do lovely. And oh, look at this. It's a Kodak moment. I love these two. They're like yeah. So again, Rodney, your wife took us out. Do you want to take us out a second time? I mean, you guys are beautiful together.
I can't hear what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying rack, 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 rack.
Oh well, I'm saying, Cassandra, will you translate it for me? Go this way. I will have my mic fixed by next week. But Cassandra, will you tell Rodney again? Will you take us? Thank you for taking. Here, hold on.
Don't forget,
Let
guys.
me make sure I have this correctly.
Right.
Thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio. But let's let Cassandra and Rodney, the couple of the year, take us out.
Bye, guys.
Rodney, you need to give us some last words of encouragement here. Rodney, we need words. Rodney, where'd he go? Cassandra, no, we got all of them gone.
Stay positive, guys. You're not alone. These experiences are real. No matter what anybody tells you, your experiences may be unique, might be different from other people's, but don't be afraid to speak out about it. If you are, sit back and listen to other people's stories and encourage them. It's strength in numbers.
Amen. Cassandra, any last words? Does your wife have any beautiful last
She's gone.
words?
She's gone. She's getting some pizza. She worked hard today.
She already ran to the bedroom. Okay, we get it. Anyway, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio. This is Rodney and Coley, and we will be joining you again next Friday. And I promise you, I won't bust my system here if Rodney doesn't bust his. But we love all of you, and we appreciate all of your love and support. And the growth. I mean, we'll have a list. Like I said, Rodney and I have grown. I mean, we are on so many platforms, we just don't even know how to tell you guys thank you enough. So we appreciate it. Yes. Thank you again. So absolutely enjoy your independence while you have it. We are going out. So again, thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio with Rodney and his beautiful wife. But we are going to head out. So in thinking about all of that tonight, realize, be good, be kind to one another. Know that, we're here to hold and support one another. So if the truth be known, let's tell it at all costs. At all costs. And if I can do what I got to do to help and support that, and Rodney, he's totally dedicated this too. We will do what we got to do. So believe me, we love you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you again.
Mystery secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the Subnation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse is where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves surround us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand. Where the stars and secrets flow. Subnation X radios glow. In the night we'll ride the show into the unknown, unknown. Where mysteries are shown. Dance to the beat we own. Come with us and let it go. Night sky whispers in the dark. Secret trails will leave a mark. Follow close, ignite that spark. We're on a ride, it's just the start. Into the unknown, unknown. Where mysteries are shown. Dance to the beat we own. Come with us and let it go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown. Where mysteries are shown. Dance to the beat we own. Come with us and let it go. Feel the rhythm, feel the night. Every heartbeat, pure delight. Mysteries come to light. Hold on tight, it's out of sight. Into the unknown, unknown. Where mysteries are shown. Dance to the beat we own. Come with us and let it go.
where shadows play, whispers of secrets that lead us astray. Lights in the sky, they flicker and fade. Questions arise and truths are betrayed. Echoes of voices from ages long past, glimmers of knowledge ready to last. Chasing the night where the wild things roam.
Right, put it back on.
Are we headed home? Mysteries, dances in the dark. UFO shining, igniting a spark. Aliens calling from faraway lands. Cryptids and Sasquatch, just take a chance. Illuminate the skies and break down the walls. Secrets unwrapped, hear the ancient calls. Together we rise, we won't be alone. Exploring the unknown, it's time to be shown. In every heartbeat there's a story untold. In the stillness, the mysteries unfold. Off-world entities drifting through time. Paranormal whispers so hauntingly sublime. In the silence of night, there's magic to find. Embrace the enigma, let go of your mind. Eyes in the woods, they dance in the mist. Cryptids and legends, a chance we can't miss. Conversations with experts unravel the threads, connecting the tales of the living and dead. From the depths of the ocean to the stars up high, the stories we chase will never die. Every encounter creates and remakes the fabric of life intertwined with mistakes. Mysteries, mysteries, dances in the dark. UFOs shining, igniting the spark. Aliens calling from faraway lands. Cryptids and Sasquatch, just take a chance. Embrace the unknown, let curiosity be. The truth lies within and it sets us free. Dark where shadows play, whispers of secrets that lead us.
Unraveling the mysteries, secrets in the night. We travel through the cosmos, ready for the flight. Together we'll shine, casting shadows aside. In the heart of the rhythm where our dreams collide.
Join the Sub-Nation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright.
From the Sub-Nation X quest, the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the grooves around us, everything's alright. SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bring shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this road we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand.